patriot fighting for liberty and bringing the information to the public, and we want to give them as much time as we can, so we're going to turn it back to them now.
We were talking about the United Nations and world government, and North Carolina was the first state to pass the New World Order. And most people don't believe this, but right here are the documents out of the North Carolina Law Review for the year 1948, February 1948. And as I was saying earlier, the first National Convention of World Government Advocates was held in Asheville, North Carolina, February 22nd, 1947. A result of the merger of 5 organizations into the United World Federalists, a national membership organization wholly supported by the dues and contributions. And then the other part of it was the members of the 1941 General Assembly of North Carolina may have had it. On March 13, 1941, they adopted a resolution prepared by Robert Lee Humber of Greenville, North Carolina, endorsed by Governor Broughton, by which they registered their profound belief and irrevocable conviction governments are essential to the existence of the communities. Folks, all this was being done without your hand in it, your vote.
And let's tell them who Robert Humber was.
Yes.
Because they say, a lot of people say, well, I've never heard of Robert Humber. Well, I'll tell you who he was. He was from North Carolina, and he was the dean of the University of North Carolina Law School. He was also the State House of Representatives, or part of the State House of Representatives, as far as pushing this idea of this World Federation. And it says the House of Representatives unanimously, let's see, the Senate by a vote of 45-5, voted passing the following joint resolution for the Declaration of the Federation of Earth. Now, let me read that again. It says the State House of Representatives unanimously voted for this, and the Senate by 45-5 vote passed the joint resolution for the Declaration of the Federation of Earth. Now you tell me there's not a lot of traitors up there.
Well, let me pass one other thing down to you also. We found a letter in the letters and telegrams in Raleigh from Robert Lee Humber to Robert Lee Humber from Governor Broughton, and he said the following: I've been much impressed with the sentiment expressed in this admirable resolution which you propose. It is exalted in the charter, and although admirable in purpose, you have drafted a resolution with a background of 16 years residence in Paris, terminating only upon the German invasion. Last June and previous to this, as a Rhodes Scholar at an Oxford University, you have an ultimate acquaintance with the opportunity of observing the European leadership in affairs. And out of this experience, you have drafted a document that sounds hopeful in a note of darkness and international disorder, which we now experience. Folks, Gary, do you want to talk about the Rhodes Scholars for a moment?
Well, the Rhodes Scholarship Program was developed by Cecil Rhodes, and he was a member of the Fabian Society. And I just showed Farron the picture of the shield of the Fabian Society in Britain. And the shield is a picture of a wolf in sheep's clothing. And you can go on your internet, type in, Google in Fabian Society, and you'll be able to see this. They showed that they accomplished what they did by deception and by being wolves in sheep's clothing. So the Rhodes Scholarship Program, Cecil Rhodes, by the way, Rhodesia in Africa was named for Cecil Rhodes. He owned diamond mines there in Africa. He did not care whether he destroyed many thousands of Africans' lives digging in the pits there to get diamonds for him, and he stayed broke almost all the time because his money was put into developing world government. So the Rhodes Scholarship Fund was developed to get people and educate them that had the mindset that they thought they could use for pushing or furthering the agenda for world government.
The General Assembly of North Carolina, March 1941, on the 13th day of March 1941, ratified the New World Order. North Carolina was the first state to pass this.
Absolutely.
And there's one thing I want you to hear firsthand. And give me about 2 seconds and let me find it.
While you're looking
Yeah,
for that,
yeah.
the World Federalist Organization is the ones who were able to get the Declaration of Interdependence signed. I don't remember if you remember this or not, but it happened in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, at our bicentennial celebration. And the Declaration of Interdependence was signed by most of our congressmen, and also there again, our dependence is on God. We're not supposed to be dependent upon other nations. We're not supposed to be interdependent upon them because most of those nations don't want anything to do with the God of our Bible. So I just wanted to throw that out.
I want to read to you too from the book review, from the North Carolina Law Review, 1948, and I want you to hear this one paragraph. Every lawyer's job should be to grasp the vision of world community, attempting to exist without a government, therefore without a law. Having grasped it, each lawyer is the best, perhaps the only man in his community who can alert his fellow citizen to the urgent necessity of establishing a government for world community. Folks, think about this, just for a moment. If you're out there, you don't have to be a deep thinker to think about this. A few weeks ago, you heard Dr. Schroeder talking about the executive order which put us under the UN. This UN document, 2335 I believe it is the executive order. We cannot have a constitution and be in the UN. No other country can. So here we are, sitting here now, realizing that the Constitution of our country has been taken out in 1933. We're under executive orders, and more importantly, they are telling the lawyers to realize that this time is really coming to a point that they want us to go along with the program, telling the lawyers to go along with the program and put the New World Order into play when the time comes. And they're going to say to you, the Constitution isn't working.
Right.
It hadn't been working since 1933.
That's right.
Okay?
Clinton and him have been very open, and Gore, about redoing the Constitution. It's archaic, it's out of date.
Yeah.
And they're not telling you that they're already not using it.
Constitutional Convention.
Right.
Oh, man.
You don't want that.
They don't, yeah.
Gentlemen, we've got about 3 minutes left. I want to make sure any contact information, anything that you want to get in, the 3 minutes are yours. We've got about 3 minutes before we go off the air.
Well, again, my name is Gary Frye. I'm a Baptist minister, and am willing to preach in any church that opens its door and that invites me to come in. But I want you to realize we're going to speak the whole truth. We're not holding anything back. God says to warn my people, and that's what we intend to do. But I'll preach whatever the Lord lays on my heart. You can contact me at 704-782-5273. That's 704-782-5273. That is my home phone. And before I turn it over to Rodney, I want all of you to go to 2 Chronicles chapter 7. Don't start where you normally do, but begin at verse 19 and the rest of that chapter. 19 to the rest of that chapter. Rodney.
My name is Rodney Miller. I'll give you my post office box. It's P.O. Box 1076, Hickory, North Carolina, 28